This is the official beginning of the live session on the topic of the Vedic mantras for the sun and the moon. Let me get the... Now, see, there's still more stuff I have to do. No, really, I'm actually ready. So, we've been going through Brihat Parashara Shastra, the chapter on the Graha Shanti, which means to make peace with the planets. And we saw how interesting it was. His approach to it was very interesting. He said, whatever things you want to improve in your life, associate them with the planet, and then do certain activities that are related to that planet. And visualize the planet in a certain way, and then worship that visualization. And the whole thing is very symbolic to put you in a frame of mind that really aligns you, puts you in harmony with the planet. Then he says there's various kinds of charities and so forth that you should do in the name of each planet. And then finally he gets to the mantra. He gets to the shloka, which is about which mantras you should meditate on. Let me say a word to you, first of all, about mantras in general. Okay? Mantras in general, what are they? Like I remember from the last session that we did. Somebody said, "Hey, Vic, do these things really work?" Right? And my answer is they don't have to work. It's not like they produce a result. The deed itself is what works. It's not like it's a magic spell that makes something happen. But simply by doing these things that Parashara recommends, you change yourself. And by changing yourself, you change the world. You change your world. So, let me tell you a word. Before telling you specific mantras, let me talk about mantras in general. Mantra, mana means manas. And the manas is the mind. And tra means an instrument. Right? So a mantra is a mind instrument. It's a thing that the mind can use to work. It's also a way of understanding. It's something the mind can use, and it's also something that you can use to adjust your mind. Like a screwdriver, you can adjust your car with a screwdriver. You can adjust your stereo with a screwdriver. You can adjust your mind with a mantra. That's why it's called a mantra, a mind tool. Why would you want to adjust your mind? Because think about the mind. The mind is represented by the moon. Think about how important the moon is. It's the reflector of the sunlight into the night. Right. As Angela said, the moon is the thing that reflects or focuses the sunlight into the world. The external world that we live in is not sentient. It's actually an illusion of a non-sentient external reality. So it's akin to the nighttime. It's symbolically associated with nighttime. In order to get sunlight into that, you have to have a reflector. You have to have the moon. So the sun has to bounce off the moon, and then it can shine into the nighttime indirectly. So think about how important your mind is. The only way that you can input or output from the world that you're involved with is through it. The only way that you can experience anything is through your mind. So a mantra, a mind tool, a mind screwdriver is the most valuable thing you could ever get. Because this is the most valuable tool that you have, is your mind. This is what determines everything about whether you'll be happy or sad. Is this thing inside of you that is perceiving. It doesn't matter if you are healthy or unhealthy, fat or skinny, tall or short, with one child or no child, or 6 husbands or 1 husband or 0 husbands. That stuff doesn't matter. Those are the stimuli. Those are the stimulants which the mind experiences. But the actual sensation of happiness or sadness is not in the stimulus. It's in the experiencer. So it's really all about your mind. Your whole life is about your mind. And if you can change your mind, you can therefore change anything. Then first it will change subjectively, and then it will change objectively later. The more deeply it changes subjectively. Because the objective reality is an outer, thick, slow layer on the inner subjective reality. So, think about how important a mantra is. Now, let me say a word about how it works. Mantras are not. Mantras are made of words. Oh, Viv has an interesting question. Is the human mind different from the soul mind? So, Viv, according to Sankhya, Vedic science, according to Vedic science, there's a mind, an intellect, an identity, and then the perceiver of them all. The perceiver of them all is the atma. The identity is the aham, the ahamness. It's signified by the sun. The mind, which is where the feelings are, is signified by the moon. That's the manas. And then the intellect, which makes sense of inputs and outputs, is buddhi, signified intellect, signified by Mercury. So it's different. There's no such thing as a soul mind. The soul uses the mind. Sometimes the soul uses a human mind. Sometimes the soul uses a rat's mind. But the soul uses the mind in order to have a mind. The mind is the expansion of the soul into a certain tool. Because the soul itself is just the consciousness. It's the essential core of what you are. It's the consciousness, and then it has various tools like a sense of self, a sense of desire, motivation, that's in the moon, and then the sense of self is in the sun, the sense of motivation and desire is in the moon, and then the ability to interact with the world and make sense of it is in Mercury. We are going to do, Somi Saks once says, I want to know the Venus mantra. Well, you got to stick around, Somi ji. Today I'm going to hope to do sun and hopefully moon. And then next time I'll do Mercury and Venus or something like that. Okay, so we're going to go. We'll eventually take them all. Subscribe to my channel. Guys, guess what? Guess what? I got to tell you this too. This weekend I'm going to put out an awesome video. Or maybe Monday or something. This weekend or Monday I'm going to put out an awesome video. It's going to be the Nakshatra Sutra of Taittiriya Brahmana set to music with these guys. That's out of tune, but with all these guys. And you'll be able to hear the Nakshatra Sutra, really hear it with the translations on the screen. And I'm putting it out to announce that the Nakshatra Sutra course that I held about a month ago is now going to be available for download, so you can take it offline. Okay. All right, so mantra, it's made out of words, right? Why is it a mind tool? Mantra. It's a screwdriver, a tool for the manas, for the mind. Why? What kind of, if you want to turn a screw, then you have to have a metal thing with a certain shape. Well, what kind of a shape does the tool have to work on your mind? The mind is made, it's very, very, very similar to words. The mind and words are very close. The mind is, darn it. Guys on Facebook, my battery is low on this phone. So if it runs out on Facebook, go over to my YouTube channel and then just put a /live in front of it. Okay, and then you'll be able to keep seeing this on YouTube. All right, so you probably got at least another 5 or 10 minutes though on Facebook. If somebody could put the link into the comments on Facebook, that would be awesome. All right, the mind is practically like something that's made out of words. So the way to work on your mind is through ideas, really, right? You work on your mind through ideas, but ideas are codified or expressed through words. Words don't always have to be linguistic. A word can be a symbol, it can be a picture, it can be a color, it can be a sound, a pitch, a timbre. But the most sophisticated type of word is a linguistic word. And so this is why thanks, Eddie. This is why a mantra, the tool to work on your mind, is made out of words. Now, I want you to really pay attention to this part. Okay? Mantras are made of words. They're not made of sounds. There's a difference between a sound and a word. In Sanskrit, it's a dhvani or a vani. Okay? A sound is just something like those are sounds, right? But these things that I'm saying right now are words. Mantras are not sounds. Now, a word, of course, a word is made of sound, but a word is a very special form of sound. Okay? So yes, there's sound in the mantra, but the mantra is made of words. It's not just something that buzzes in your ear or you just hear it where you vibrate with it, or there's a vibration or something, and it realigns your chemical blah blahs by the vibrations of the Venus, this and that. It doesn't work like that. It's not for just listening to. These are words. So you need to, what do you need to do with words? もし私は日本語に喋りますから、あなたたちは全然わからなかったらね. Right? So I just switched to a language in which you guys, 98% of you must not know at all. So you don't have no idea what I just said, even though I actually said something. I said, if I started talking in Japanese, most of you would totally not understand a damn thing I'm saying. So the words had meaning in them, but you had no access to that meaning because you didn't understand those words in that language. So there was an effect on your consciousness, of course, because you were hearing a different sound and you get inspired to learn about that sound. But you don't understand, you don't get the full effect of what I'm saying because you don't understand the words. It's the same thing with the mantra. You must understand the language. You must understand the meaning of the words. Until you understand the meaning of the mantra, you cannot get the full benefit of it. So equally or more important than actually practicing the meditation on the mantra is the effort that you make to try to learn about the mantra, to try to study the mantra, to try to understand it. Okay? And so like, listening today in the class is super, super important for trying to understand, for making peace with the planets, sun and moon. When you meditate on a mantra, how should you meditate upon a mantra? Maybe today we'll only do the sun because there's so much intro. How do you meditate on a mantra? You have to think about the words. You have to hear these words and think about them. Not by letting your mind run from anything to anything, but think about the words. Let the words have meaning in them. They have to be the screwdriver that turns your mind. Like Neil's asking, is visualization important? Right? So that's what happens in the mind when a word unpacks. The way I think of a word, it's like a vitamin pill. It's like you take some medicine or vitamins and you put it inside this gelatin little capsule. And then you put that capsule in your body, and then the outside of it dissolves, and then all the medicine goes. So words are just like that. I put my consciousness into this capsule of sound, and then I give you that capsule through your ear, and then it goes inside your head and heart, and it goes, and the meaning comes out. When the meaning comes out, what happens is you actually see something. You see some meaning in your inner eye. So that's what should be going on with the mantra. Visualization is important, but don't force a visualization. The words themselves naturally produce images in the mind when the words are understood. So simply try to understand the words and try to actually see them. Like when my kids go to school and the teacher is trying to tell them something, I tell them, try to imagine what your teacher is telling you, and then you'll be able to learn it very easy. Right? So the same thing with a mantra. Try to imagine what this word is saying. And try to visualize it, try to see it. But don't try to visualize something else, and then you're hearing the sound of the mantra at the same time. I visualize myself on a wonderful beach with a palm tree and beautiful waves and a pina colada and Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Param. And I hear the sound in the background. That's not the visualization that you do with the mantra. Okay? Let the words themselves give you the image. All right, I think I've given you enough background on how you actually use a mantra. So now you're going to spend some time every day or regularly sitting down in a calm place thinking about these words. Good idea if you can actually say them. It helps you think about them. That's an important part of the practice of the mantra, actually, right? And it's so hard to concentrate on what I'm saying when I'm also reading what you guys are saying in the comments. So you're going to spend some time sitting down thinking about the mantras. And you think that might be your practice, but actually that's not. The most important part of your practice is the effort that you put in to understand the mantra. Okay? and to make yourself capable of visualizing the mantra. All right, enough said. I'll see if there's one or two more questions about mantras. Okay? I'm looking at your comments now. Somebody says he thinks that mantras are a way to become one with the cosmos. Well, mantra is going to make you one with something, because that's what communication is. Look at the word communication. Thank you so much for these donations that people are giving me on YouTube. You can give donations. Think about the word communication. Uni. Uni means one. Com means together. Cation, to make. The act of making things come together is communication. That's what words do. They make you one. So, like, you're becoming one with my idea because you're listening to my words. So if you listen to a mantra carefully, you'll become one with the message of that mantra. See, now Saurabh is asking one of these questions, which is not paying. Can I criticize you, Saurabh? Gee, just for the sake of, not for the sake of criticizing you, but for the sake of knowledge. This is one of these questions which is you're not paying attention. You're thinking about things that you learned from other people, or things that you already think about mantras. You think that it's a magic spell, it's going to activate some energy, or there's some special letter that vibrates a certain way. I didn't say anything like that. Right? It's not that if you say this mantra, then this magic spell is going to happen, and if you say it wrong, a demon is going to pop out and swallow your soul. So what I'm saying is the mantra is a tool to work on your mind. It's made out of words, because words is the closest thing to the mind. Words bring ideas into your mind, and ideas shape your mind. So there's a special set of words, that's called a mantra, that gives your mind a special image that can shape it. And what you want to do is think, what shape do I want my mind to move towards? That's the kind of mantra that I want. It doesn't have to do with activating this house, activating that planet, avoiding this critical thing, getting this malefic or that malefic. It doesn't have to do with that. It's simple. Okay. Now, let's go ahead. Let's look at the sun. Okay? Here's the sun. Sun's mantra. This is where Prashara is obviously genius and obviously a sage. To recommend these mantras is incredible, the particular mantras that he picks. So he says that to better develop the qualities associated with the sun, or to solve problems related to qualities or persons or things related to the sun, meditate on the Rig Veda 135.2. And let's talk about this mantra right now. Rig Veda 135.2 is Aakash Nina rajasa vartama nives martyam cha hiran yayena Savitā rathenā devo yati bhuvana paśyan. So this is not your basic Om Sum Suryaya Nama. Om Sum Suryaya Nama. Om Sum Suryaya Nama is just a tantra. It's just taking Surya's name and putting into a little format. This is very, very much more powerful than that. Okay, this is a Vedic mantra, so you see it's pretty long. It's going to take you some effort to be able to even repeat this once, right? But guess what? That's the practice. That's the practice. Lalya, also, you guys, go back and watch the videos that I've been doing. Pay good attention, pay careful attention, because all of your questions are already answered. She wants to know how do you know what mantra is good for her, but that's already answered. That was the first answer. That was the first question and answer in this chapter. The question and answer in this chapter was Parashar said, whatever problem that you're having or whatever thing you want to improve, figure out what planet or planets that issue relates to, and do the mantra or the puja, everything related to that planet. That's how you know. So say you're too scared all the time. You don't have enough courage. So work on the sun and Mars. Say you're not having a good experience of being able to love other people. We'll work on Venus and Moon. Okay? That's how you know. Are mantras used as prayers? They're not prayers. Don't use them as prayers. Prayer is a Christian idea, mostly. Oh, no, it's not just a Christian idea. Actually, Krishna says that artarti jignasu gyaninas, but then he says the gyanis are the best. He says, some people come to me asking for things, but that's the lowest class. So you can use a mantra as a prayer, but that's the lowest class. A prayer is a petition. Give me this, give me that. Use the mantra as a way to communicate. Now you get a chance to communicate with this Deva, with this divinity. Through this mantra of Rig Veda, you get a chance to communicate with Surya. You don't need to ask for something specific. You don't need to have something. By the very act of communicating with Surya, you become empowered by Surya. So, let's think about this mantra. Okay, so like I'm saying, it's not easy. It's a long mantra. But guess what? That's your practice. So this isn't something that you have to do like, although Parashar is going to say you have to do like 11,000 repetitions of this and so forth. But really, practically speaking, this isn't one of these mantras where you have to do like 75 or 64 miles a day or something. You just do one. If you just work on this for a week to get to the point where you can be able to say it, that's a tremendous amount of sadhana that you've done, a tremendous amount of practice, a tremendous amount of effort to communicate with Surya, which is going to improve your life so much. So let's look at the mantra. The first word is Aakash Nina, which is, well, I like this word a lot. Krishna, there's the word Krishna in there. Krishna means black. The mantra for the sun starts with the word that means Aakash Nina, from the blackness. Yeah? Aakash Nina, from the blackness. So when you're visualizing this mantra, it's very good if you have some weakness or problem that you symbolically associate that with the blackness or the darkness. Aakash Nina rajasa. The rajas is the brightness, the brilliance, the light. So what these two words mean is there's a light, there's a brilliant light shining out of the darkness. Aakash Nina rajasa. Just think of those two words alone. You'll make tremendous strides in the way that you can relate to Surya and how you'll feel about the Surya qualities like confidence, leadership, stability, ability to withstand attacks and forces. There's so much darkness around you, but you can shine and drive that darkness away. Aakash Nina rajasa vartama nives. This light, vartamana, comes towards us, nives, and envelops us. It wraps around us. Do you see how easy it is to visualize when you actually know what the word is? What the words mean? Mantras are simple, easy, wonderful things. So just think, Aakash Nina, from the darkness, rajasa, the brilliance, vartamana, comes to me, nives, and embraces me, and enwraps me, clothes me. Who does it wrap? Amritam, martyam cha. It enwraps the mortal and the immortal as well. It enwraps the eternal and the temporary as well. So everyone, everything. That's what this is saying. Everyone and everything. All aspects of everything. The inner and outer aspect of every problem is solved by this light. It's not just a spiritual light that has no material potency. It's not just a material medicine that has no spiritual potency. The sun, the light of the sun, which is the consciousness and the health-giving potency of the vitality of the soul, is going to give the spiritual, the eternal vitality, the eternal strength, and the temporary, physical, practical strength as well. Okay? So everyone is dependent on the sun. Gods and humans are both dependent on the sun. So that's why this mantra says, the amrita and the martya, the mortals and the immortals, are both enwrapped or embraced by the light that comes out of the darkness from the sun. Beautiful, right? Isn't it? Here's a good question from Raphael. Since the mantra is a word that invokes imagery in the mind, wouldn't it be better to do it in a language that you know? Yes, except it's good. It's better To just mouth off a sound that you have no idea what's going on is not as good as saying some kind of a translation of the thing that you can understand. That's better. But rather than just going on Krishna and rajasa, you have no idea what you're saying. It's better to say from the darkness the light comes and envelops the mortals and humans. From the darkness the light comes and envelops the mortal and immortal alike. From the darkness. It's better. But it's still not as powerful because words have connotations. And the translation never really quite gets the thing exactly right. What you really want to do to really make a mantra unlock and blossom for you is learn it. Don't translate it, but learn it. Learn the word Krishna. To hear the word Krishna itself is so important. To hear the sound Krishna is important. It evokes so many things in your mind. It doesn't just mean from darkness. It also means from Krishna. That the light's coming from Krishna. If you just translate into that English, you'll lose that. So Aakash Nina rajasa. Rajasa doesn't just mean light. It also implies kings. Raja. Kingliness. That's an important part of the sun's quality. So there's so much sophisticated meaning in the words as they are formulated by the sages in the exact language that they formulated by, that if you really want the mantra to be at full power, you need to put in your effort to understand. Now you say, damn it, I don't have time to learn Sanskrit. You don't have to learn Sanskrit, but you have to at least learn the words that are in this mantra. You say, oh, I still don't have time for that, or I don't have aptitude for that. Well, but what I'm saying is this is your practice. This is your sadhana. This is what you have to do. This is the way you have to spend your time. You have to make some effort. Don't just make the effort to buzz off some words or try to sit still or something. That's not where meditation really is, trying to sit down like this. The meditation is the effort that you put in to try to understand these words. Okay? Sun is not a planet only. This planet is a symbol. If the sun is a planet only, then there's no such thing as astrology. The sun is a symbol, and the position of the sun symbolically reveals information about the condition of the world at that time, and the creatures in it. The sun is a symbol for the soul and so many things related to the soul. So working with the sun is a symbolic way of working with so many things. Let's see what's going on over here on YouTube. Good. Rajasa is not really red, Neil. Rajas means shining. But it's a light that's like, it's not a pure light. It's a light that's very intensified, like as if it's red. It's red. Okay, it's like a reddish light. It's like a yellowy sunlight. But keep away from the red idea. It's just this bright, brilliant. The word rajas has this. Why does the word rajas mean light and king at the same time? Because light comes from something that's got power. When something has a lot of energy, it starts to glow. And a king is the source of all the power in a kingdom. So the king is called the Raja because he's the power source. And the sun has rajas because it's giving off all that glow. All right, that's only half the mantra. Aakash Nina rajasa vartama no nives amritam cha. Amritam martyam cha. Okay? The next one is, the next line, hiran yayena Savitā. So here's another important word in Sanskrit that you won't be able to translate. Savitā, an important name for the sun. You can see how Prashar, who selected this mantra, is a person who really knows the Vedas, to be able to find this mantra out of all the mantras in the Vedas. So he said Savitā. Savitā is the divine awakener of consciousness. Okay? That's what the word means, Savitā, the one who invigorates, the one who wakes you up. Just like the sun is called Savitā because it wakes us up. Yayena. Hiranya is golden. Yayena Savitā rathenā devo. This bright, now Deva, you think means God. Just like Rajas, you think means king. Deva also means brilliant. Rajas means king, but it means brilliant. Deva means God, but it means brilliant. So now you understand why king is brilliant, but also why does Deva mean God. Deva comes from the word deepam, which means to glow, to have light. And it means divinity, consciousness, the thing which illuminates. And the ones who have lots of illumination in their consciousness, a very expanded consciousness, they're called devas. It doesn't really literally mean God, but it means like enlightened or wise. So the sun here is being referred to as Savitā and Deva. Tat Savitur Varaniam Bharga Devasya Dhimahi. So this is very similar to that Brahma Gayatri, where the sun is addressed as both Savitur and Deva. So this Deva, this divine, brilliant, conscious light of the sun, is coming out. How is it Aakash Nina rajasa vartama? It's coming out from the darkness. How? On a ratha. Rath is a chariot. It's riding on a chariot. What kind of chariot? Hiran. It's riding on a chariot made of gold. Yati bhuvana paśyan. It can see everything in the world from this chariot, and the whole world can see it. So this is very important, because the sun will give you qualities like confidence, fame, success, career. All these things are connected with the sun, right? This part of the mantra, this part where bhuvana paśyan, to be seen all over the world, to come out on a golden chariot and shine for all the world to see. That's what the second part of the mantra is saying. The first part of the mantra says that there's some darkness, there's a problem, there's a darkness, but from this darkness a great light comes out and enwraps everybody. And then that enraptured person, who's you, if you're doing the mantra, that enraptured person then sits on this chariot with the awakener. You've become awakened by the awakener, and you've become brilliant like the brilliant. And then you sit on the chariot of gold and go out and be seen by the world. So there's a lot of problems associated with the sun will be lack of ability to be confident in public, lack of extroversion, things like that. These things can be fixed by contemplating this mantra correctly. Okay? Isn't it wonderful? I'll just leave you with I'll try to do the mantra at least one time with the proper meter. And I'm not sure how proper it is, but I'll do my best. And I don't know things about melody. People who are really scholars of these Vedic mantras have this down to an exact science. Remember, you're not doing this as a ritual. So you don't have to get it to an exact science. You're doing this as a therapy. So you have to get the meaning from it. That's the most important thing. It's called the jnana-kanda approach, not the karma-kanda approach. Okay, don't think that you have to do this in a ritualistic way, and if you get one of the syllables wrong, a big demon will come up and eat your firstborn child. It's not like that. You just try to get the meaning right. Aakash Nina rajasa vartama nives ayann martyam cha hiran yayena Savitā rathenā devo yati bhuvana paśyan. That's the right meter for it. Let's see if you guys got any questions. And then we could look at the sun. Do it several times, please. Let's go on. You have to watch my video again and again and again. All right, this is my sales pitch. This is my way of getting you trapped on my YouTube channel. You have to watch this again and again and again. All right, any questions about this mantra? Whether or not you do it on a Sunday or a Monday, it's not that important. Because really, Vedic culture didn't have any such thing as Sundays and Mondays, believe it or not. Vedic culture had years, special kinds of years, different types of years that we don't have anymore. And they had months, special months, and then special fortnights instead of weeks. Waxing and waning moon with different tithis in each one, different phases in each one. It was the Romans or Greeks or somebody from like that who had a 7-day system, or maybe others as well, but it wasn't indigenous to the older Vedic texts. But it's one way. if you wanted to say, well, let me do it 1 day a week, what day should I do it on? Let me do it on Sunday so I can remember. That's fine. It's totally fine. But it's not like it's essential that you do it on Sunday, because otherwise you're not in harmony with the vibration of the sun. It's not ritualistic like that. Yeah, Neil says, does the Rishi mention the number of times to be repeated? Yeah, but I'm shying away from that, from telling you that, honestly, because I think it's going to push you in the wrong understanding, and it's also going to daunt you, like, what? I can't even do this once. How am I going to do it? So he says, the mantra of the sun, Aakash Nina rajasa, you should do it 7,000 times. It's not that much, but it sounds huge, and it's going to daunt people, and it's also going to make people think that it's ritualistic, when it's not. All right, let's do the moon. Let me get this mantra on my screen. The moon. This one is even longer. Now, Parashar says the next mantra is Imam Deva asapatnam. He says after the sun's mantra, Aakash Nina rajasa. You see, he just mentions the first words, because what I'm doing here right now is actually illegal. You're not supposed to give the full mantra, but actually it's not entirely illegal, because there's a little secret that I haven't told you. Actually, I feel bad about that. But you have to research a little bit. I'll give you a hint that there's a certain word. Nobody put this in the comments, but you'll just find out on your own that there's a certain word that you have to say first before you say any mantra. And since I'm not saying that one, I'm a little bit shielded from breaking the rules of the fact that you're not supposed to openly disclose a Vedic mantra. But if you like, I can consider you all my students, and I'm giving you this mantra right now. We can play it like that. All right, let's not play it like that. I don't like that too much. All right, moon's mantra, okay? So the moon mantra is Shukla Yajurveda 940. And it says, Imam Deva asapatnam, sudadhvam mahate, kshatraya mahate, jyais mahate, jana-ra indriyaya imam amus putram asyai putram asyai vo'mi raja somo'sma brahmananam raja. So you're going to have a lot of work. But this moon mantra is really important, right? Because this is the moon signifies your mind, and the mantra is a tool for the mind. This is then the most important of all the mantras to think of. So what kind of problems might you have with the moon? And let's think about that before we unravel this mantra to see what it's talking about. The moon is your mind. The mind is the place where you have desires. That's what it does. The mind is the seat of your desires, therefore your inspirations, your motivations. As I mentioned earlier, for the Facebookers, guys that are still hanging on Facebook, my battery's going to run out. I'm surprised it lasted this long. So hop over to my YouTube channel if it runs out over here on Facebook. And as I mentioned before, I'm going to release a great video on the Nakshatra Sutra this weekend or on Monday to announce the availability of my Nakshatra Sutra course. So I hope you all take advantage of that. All right, now back to this moon. The moon is the mind. The mind is the sponge or the container that generates and holds and nourishes all of your desires. It's the subjective way. It's the sunlight is reflecting off the moon. So it's the way, it's the angle from which you see the world. The sunlight comes onto the moon and then shines onto the night. So the moon's the mind signifies your particular unique angle on the world, on this world, on the external world. And when that light shines onto the world, it feels preferences. It has an angle. It turns towards one thing and away from another. It's not just shining everywhere. It's focusing on one spot. So the moon is the seat of preferences, of liking one thing, disliking another. And then because of preferences, desires arise. So the moon or the mind is this, because it's your subjective base, it's also the seat of all of your desires and your opinions. And therefore it is the root of all your happiness. All of the happiness or sadness is in the mind. Because happiness and sadness is very simply just the ability or inability to satisfy desires. So the moon is really important for feeling happiness, feeling joy, feeling content, feeling satisfied. And that's what this mantra is about. So it begins like this. It begins like this. Imam Deva, asapatnam. So Imam means this. So maybe we're talking about the moon. We are talking about the moon. Now, another thing about language is, when language is very sophisticated, it talks about multiple things at once. Right? So, in the Sanskrit, there's a lot of multiple meanings at the same time, but they're always working in the same direction. So this Imam word is talking about the moon, but it's also talking about you, the person chanting, the person doing the mantra, thinking about your moon, your mind. So this mind, this moon, this mind that I have, is Deva. It's a brilliant thing. It's the tool of my consciousness. It's divine. And it's asapatnam. You cannot surpass it. It's the greatest. It's the number one thing. It's the best. Asapatnam. You can't get higher than it. So this means this moon is the most important God. But it also means the mind is the most important part of who I am. And it also means this mind cannot be touched, cannot be disturbed, cannot be attacked. This is another thing. Just like the first two words alone, Aakash Nina rajasa from the sun mantra will work wonders. Just understand it. With the moon mantra, just these first three words gives you the whole meaning of the mantra almost. Imam Deva asapatnam. I cannot be ruffled. What I really am cannot be dragged down. Imam Deva, this divine being, cannot be surpassed, cannot be put down. Now, and that's not bravado. The rest of the mantra is going to make this more than just a little pep talk that you give yourself in the morning. It's not bravado, it's true. So the next words explain why it's true. Sudadhvam mahate. What the moon wants is suddha. Suddha is a joy, like a bliss, like a pleasure. So all the desires, like pleasurable things, why do we turn towards one thing and away from another? Because we find one pleasant and the other unpleasant. So we feel like we're very at the mercy of the external objects. The external objects pull our mind here and there, and therefore drag us, not asapatnam. They make us sapatnam. They make us subordinate. They pull us around, and they make our happiness uncertain. Like, imagine if a beautiful object comes into your view. It pulls your desire, and then you become uncertain of whether or not you can be happy, because your happiness is now dependent on getting that thing or achieving whatever it is that's attracted you about that thing. So life becomes very, very uncertain when your happiness is dependent upon the object. But what this mantra is telling you is, inside this Deva itself, inside this divine mind itself, at the core of this divine mind is the Deva, the actual divine being. In that divine being already is the pleasure. The pleasure is there. You don't actually get pleasure from an ice cream cone. The ice cream cone is just a stimulus that's experienced by the mind. It's like, you think that I'm getting too much symbolic, right? Sometimes I'm sure some of you probably are thinking this guy's always talking about symbols, but everything is a symbol. It's all just symbols that your mind interprets and pretends, identifies with. It's just acting. It's just a big drama. So you eat an ice cream cone and you feel a sensation, and then you pretend that means something because it's fun, because that's what life is. But actually, the pleasure that you get from eating an ice cream cone, or being loved by the most beautiful woman in the world, or the most handsome man in the world, the pleasure that you get from that is not from the external thing, it's from your mind. And if you realize that, then you become freed from dependency upon the external thing. Then you stop worrying about what's going to happen. Sudadhvam mahate. The greatest pleasure is already there. Kshatraya mahate. This pleasure that's in the mind inherently See, that's the moon also. Now you can imagine the moon. The moon, that's why it's called Soma. That's why he's the source of the Amrita. The moon is the source of the Amrita, the pleasure, the joy, the bliss. The mind, inside the consciousness and the mind is where the bliss is, not outside in objects. And the objects are they're kshat. They can be destroyed. So if the happiness is dependent upon the object, it's very perilous. But the happiness which is inherent inside the consciousness itself is kshatraya. It's to protect it to the max. Jyais mahate. It's the supreme one. It's the best form also. It's the best type of happiness. So this mantra will liberate you from feeling that you're dependent upon external situations. That's how powerful this moon mantra is. If you get liberated from external situations, you don't even need to care whether or not you're going to get sick or be healthy. Because in either case, you're going to be happy. And you're going to be able to express happiness to others and make them happy. So this is the ultimate liberation. This is really where astrology can give you something useful in this chapter with these mantras. Imam Deva asapatnam sudadhvam mahate kshatraya mahate jyais mahate. This pleasure that's inside myself, my mind, is the most delicious, the most sure and protected, and the very topmost, the best one. How topmost is it? Jana-ra indriya. Jana-ra indriya. Jana-raja means it conquers. It has the power to conquer jana, everybody. Everybody is enslaved to it. Every living creature, from God to an insect, is enslaved to happiness. And that's not wrong. Don't try to not make that the case. You will have to extinguish yourself to make that anything else than what it is. Right? Every living creature is enslaved to pleasure and happiness. But we just don't realize that the pleasure and happiness isn't dependent on external situations. It's in somehow inside what we already are. So this one, everybody is subordinate to it. Everybody is seeking it, indriya, with all of their senses. Indriya. All of the senses are struggling to achieve this pleasure which I already have in the most protected and superior form inside my very mind. Let that meaning unfold itself into your mind. Think about that once a day. Think about that a few times a day. See if your life doesn't change. See if it works or not. What does it do to you when you feel this pleasure? That's what the final part of the verse is about, and it's really wonderful. The other thing about these Vedic verses, this might be the first time that you're being exposed to a Vedic mantra. And it's nothing to be shy about, because nobody really studies any Vedic mantras anymore. Even the people who study, like myself, we study the Puranas. But if now looking in these verses, you can see, now I understand why the Puranas are saying what they're saying. The Vedic texts are not just about rituals and rain and and stuff like that, and farming and sex. The Vedic things are actually trying to explain this. And the Puranas and Upanishads are making it more clear and focusing on it. So here at the end, I guess the reason why I started talking about that is because the Upanishads really echo the statement that we're about to learn. Imam amus putram. So in the beginning of the mantra, he says, Imam Devam asapatnam. So that means this moon, it visualized the moon as this being who is unsurpassable, because she or he is full of this internal, inassailable, superior, supreme bliss that everybody else is seeking externally through their senses. That's the first bit of the mantra. The second bit is Imam amus putram. I am the putra. I am the child of that amusya. I am the child of this immortality. This, you visualize the moon as the vessel of all this immortal bliss, this unassailable, infinite, eternal, immortal bliss. And then you visualize yourself, that bliss, Imam amusya putram. I am her child. I am a part of that. I am a offshoot of that. I am a factor of that. I've come out from it. What putra literally means is to come out. So the child comes out from the mother, and so it's called a putra. So I've come out from that. I'm a product of that bliss. That's what I am. It's not that I don't belong here. It's not that this moon is a lucky fellow, but I'm an unlucky fellow. I am a part of this moon. I've come out from this moon. This moon is my parent. Amusyai putram asyai. And I realize that I am the child. I realize that I am a part of that bliss by tasting it. So the mantra will help you realize that I am a part of that divine bliss. Vimshyesha vo'mi raja somo'sma. Soma. So here at the end of the mantra, he mentions the word soma, and he says, this is what that soma really is. All the times that everybody is mentioning soma throughout the Vedas, and they think that it's a drink, or they think that it's a drug, or they think that it's something the gods have, that's not what soma really is. What this mantra is saying is, what soma really is something that's in you. The soma is that fountain of happiness. And he calls it a 20-aspected Vimshyesha vo'mi raja, that 20-aspected greatest form of soma. The supreme form of soma is this natural joy that's inherent in the mind itself. And then it ends by saying Brahmananam Raja. This is the supreme secret of the Vedas. This is the supreme spiritual truth. This is the supreme thing to learn. Pretty great, right? So let's see, any questions about it? Soma is not peace of mind, actually, but although it will look like peace of mind. Yeah, Iowa X has asked if Soma is peace of mind. Soma is bliss. Bliss is not peace of mind. Peace of mind is just neutral. Soma is bliss, excitement, joy. Thank you, Trinity. Okay? It's not just to be peaceful. Don't just try to be peaceful. That's boring. Try to be joyful. So the problems that we'll have with the moon will be that we desire things that we can't achieve. We feel depressed. We feel sad. We don't have healthy desires. And there's something like that. It can be problems with the mother because I'm not a child of a happy person. Right? I wasn't nurtured properly. But this mantra is saying I'm receiving the nourishment. I am the child of this all-nourishing vessel of the supreme nourishment. This is my mother. So it can solve all those problems. It can solve this mantra can solve any problem with your upbringing. This can solve any emotional problem. This can solve any depression or feeling that I'm useless, I can't achieve anything. What do you need to achieve? You don't need to achieve anything. You already have everything. All right, fellas, friends. Here's a question. Dal Jr. says, how important is the pronunciation of the mantra for its effectiveness? So it's not ritualistic. It's not like you have to... In a ritual, if you mispronounce something, you're in trouble. But in a meditation, if you mispronounce something, you're just not really paying enough attention. So you should try your best to pronounce everything properly, because that will make you pay very careful attention. And that's the real key that you really want to do. You really want to pay careful attention. But it's not like if you mispronounce it, then you break it or something. It's just that you're not paying enough attention. So strive to pronounce things correctly. Lisa Weiler says, when is the best time? Again, I'm trying to tell you guys that it's not a ritual. But then again, maybe she's asking when is the best time. So the answer can be whenever you're calm, whenever it's quiet, whenever it's peaceful. That would be the best time. Whenever you have a good time to think, because that's what the mantra is. You have to think about these words. So whenever you have a good time to think. Generally speaking, the morning is calmer than the afternoon, and the morning is clearer than the night. So generally speaking, people tend to do mantras in the morning. You can also do them at any time. Another time for mantras is whenever there's a sunset or a sunrise, whatever. Just when it really boils down to whenever you are in a clear frame of mind, that's the best time. You don't have to start on a new moon. You don't have to do anything specific like that. Why would you have to do something specific like that? If it makes you feel good, then do it. The thing that you have to do is pay attention to these words and visualize the words. It doesn't matter if you're doing it at 6:43 or if you're sitting to the north-northeast or to the north-southeast. Let's see what other questions you got. I love you guys, actually, to be honest. I really love you guys because I'm not the nice teacher that's giggly and telling you, patting you in the back and say, yeah. I keep like kind of insulting you almost and saying, God, you guys are not paying attention. But I love you for that. And I really respect your sincerity for being willing to have some grumpy guy tell you that you're not understanding. Good. All right, so I think we'll end by saying, somebody wanted me to say, wait, here's the question. To say mantras during puja with love in the heart is connection, even when you don't know the meaning, until you can learn. If you have love for the thing, then you're going to learn it. You know, it's not just this is another thing I was trying to say. The mantra is not just practiced when you say it. It's not just something that you practice by saying it. It's a mantra. It's something you keep in your mind and think about. Okay? So you have to learn the mantra. You got to learn the mantra. You can't just buzz it off and say, well, I love this mantra. I love the way it sounds. You can do that, but you're going to get 8% of the mantra. You know, you want to get 100% of the mantra. Thank you. So, my God, I feel so emotional. Actually, I think it's these mantras. Repeating these mantras put me into like a more emotional condition. I feel like I'm ready to cry. All right, let's do both of these mantras again. And then we'll end it. And this is great. And then next week, we will do Venus and Mercury. Okay, so one more time for the mantras. With the sun, which is Rig Veda. The sun is Aakash Nina, rajasa, vartama nives, amritam martyam cha, hiran yayena Savitā, rathenā devo yati bhuvana paśyan. And moon is even longer. Imam Deva asapatnam, sudadhvam mahate, kshatraya mahate, mahate, jana-ra indriya, imam amus putram, putram asyai, vo'mi somo'sma brahmananam raja. There you go, friends. I'll see you next week. Same time, same station. Thanks so much. Okay, I'll put the Sanskrit of the text in the comment right now. Moon. Here comes the moon. Watch this, I can make comments too. Did it go? I have to click this. It won't let it go, it's too long. I'll break it down. There's the first part of the moon. Second part of the moon. And the sun. We can fit it into one post, I think. All right, my friends. See you next week.